Now I'm going to talk about the structure of this course and their grading. The whole semester can be divided into the following structure: pre-lab reports, demo, final reports, projects, final exam, and quiz. The pre-lab report is designed to help you finish the lab faster, so you should upload your pre-lab report before class. We will deduct some grades for late submission. Also note that you'll get no points at all if your submission is 7 days later than the deadline. As for the demo, every time you finish the lab, the TA will check your results. The grades of demo will depend on many factors: the quality of your result, your finish time, and if you're done the bonus lab or not. Also, class performance. If you're late for class, then we'll deduct some points from your attendance. And every time you finish your experiment, you have to clean your table and turn off your power supply and other devices. If you haven't restored it to its original status, then we'll also deduct some points. Final reports. The most important thing is that the deadline for the final reports is 1 day before the next lab. For example, the EECS class is on Thursday. Then students of the EECS class should upload their report to the FTP before 23:59 of Wednesday. As for Friday ME and NSC class, upload the report before 23:59 of Thursday. The content of your report should include brief introductions of the lab questions, your results, including data and diagrams, and discussions about the data and your lab experience. It is encouraged to talk about the problems that you encountered in the experiment, but not mentioned in the handout. Analyze the problem and talk about the solution usually will get you higher grades. The report file has naming rules for our convenience. If you didn't follow, then we'll also deduct some points. Here is a naming example. For the third lab, the name of the file should be report free _T and your team number _ your student ID. The FTP location, port number, and account password for you to upload your final reports are shown here. But note that there are different directories for different classes. We have 2 projects for the semester, 1 midterm project and 1 final project, and a final exam that will check if you're familiar with the concepts and implementation of the lab. Occasionally, we will have quizzes before the lab starts. We consider the result of the quizzes as an indication of your familiarity of the material. We may adjust your final scores based on these results. Now let's talk about the rules of uploading reports. Needless to say, your report must be clear enough for us to understand. The content of the report can be done by any ways of digitalization. For example, you could scan or take picture of your manuscripts or some hand-drawn figures. But please note that they should always be clear enough for us to understand. Although it is rare, but when the server breaks down and you cannot upload your report to the server, then the deadline will postpone 1 week. Please remember that you should follow the naming formats below. Otherwise, we will deduct some grades from your report. Here are some naming examples. Check them when you're unsure. Also remember to check that if the file could be opened. You won't get any grades if we cannot find or read your report file. Always check the availability of your report. Every lab and every class have different directories in the FTP. Check if you're uploading to the right directory. Otherwise, we cannot find your report, and it may be considered as a missing assignment, which you don't get any grade. Now I'll talk about the important things of our demo policy. Do not copy the result of other people. We will give you 0 points if we find out. And there's a deadline for demo time. Basically, it's 4 hours after the class starts. The grading will depend on the quality of your result and your finish time. Of course, bonus lab will get you extra points too. Grading policy. As we've mentioned before, there are penalties for late submission. Also remember the deadline for reports. And please do remember, you should never copy. We'll give 0 points for both the person cheated and the person who provided the material. So don't copy and do not give your results to other person. If you cheated on one pre-lab, demo, or final report of one lab, then the whole lab will get 0 points, and we will not adjust your grades if you're cheating. We will of course follow the regulations of the school. You can see them by yourself. Our gradings will be adjusted. Average should be 78, and the standard deviation will be adjusted accordingly. But do not worry, most people will gain from this policy. One of the most important things you should learn is how to debug by yourself. Here are some useful tips that you should check. Remember that you must be on time for class. Food and drink are not allowed in the class. Before the lab, you will need to have access to breadboard, multimeter, and an engineering calculator. We also recommend you to prepare the following tools. Other materials that is needed for the lab will be provided when class starts. When buying your first multimeter, check that it has the HFE mode to test the bipolar junction transistor. And the resolution of the DCA should have selection that allows you to view 200 microampere or below. For next week, remember to finish your pre-lab and upload it to FTP. And because it is the first lecture, we will need to arrange seats, so the course will start earlier next week. And of course, make sure that you have all the tools such as breadboard and multimeter with you. If there is any important notice, we will notify you via your email, which is the one you left in the course selection system.